Hello. Oh man, look at those. Coming up with the
Yeah.
signs, man. Coming at them. Jeez. Pow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Intimidation.
it.
Charisma,
That's
high
that's
charisma, but
exactly
also
it.
very high intimidation.
Sick moves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I got the sick moves.
Yeah. If only we were wearing
When I'm sick,
sunglasses.
I really have sick moves when I'm sick.
Yeah. Jeez. Just breathe on somebody. Those are pretty sick moves. Sick
Big
moves.
Riz.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Big.
no.
Oh
Riz
no.
Master Joe. Oh no.
Actually, you know
Welcome.
what? That's probably not completely out of the ordinary because, like you tend to have the most riz when you're not looking at all.
Mm. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And you're just like, get
The
away
ch-
from me.
yeah, that's so funny. Welcome, by the way, everybody. Thank you for joining us for a Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the
Hmm.
show named Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about the problems, the issues, the going ons in your life, whatever is going on, and whatever topics you give us. You can go to don'tworrywednesday.com and submit a topic that you're worried about. Or, honestly, that you're not worried about. We have plenty of topics here that aren't that, but most of them are worries. But anyhow, yeah. If if you know if it needs to be said, we aren't professional psychologists or psychiatrists or anything along those lines, but we can do our best to be a friend that walks alongside you for a brief moment in time to share a little bit of perspective, a little bit of um, attitude, a little bit of encouragement. Because a lot of times you guys know what to do to solve your problems, but a little bit of encouragement can go a long way. So, yeah, that's what we're here to do and help you with. You
Hmm.
guys are also amazing, so amazing in the chat. Every time I come here, I'm blown away with the kindness and the love that you guys offer each other and us. So we love you so much and we thank you for all that you guys do. Darkwing, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. How are you all doing today, by the
Hmm.
way? It's nice to see you guys. You guys are
Yeah, you guys look really good.
You guys look so good. You guys have really done well with your letters today. I'm looking at
Mm.
them. They're pristine. There's not even a speck of dust on them. Wait, hold on. Let me. Okay, yeah, there we go. Not a speck of dust. That was on my monitor. That wasn't on you guys. Oh my gosh.
Whoa, Baka. Yeah, delivering pizza in the first snow
Mm,
is definitely slippery.
yeah,
Man, delivering pizzas is not a bad job to have, though. I'll tell you, like you can clean up on tips.
yeah,
At
yeah.
least you used to be able to.
I don't know,
Um,
but
so that's pretty cool. Um,
yeah, I've never done that. I've
mm,
definitely driven around for a job in the snow, and that was less than joyous. But
what
I'm
is
I'm
man?
I'm adverse to cold.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
true. You guys are all getting some snow. I'm jealous.
Really? You want snow?
Yes, I do. I
Hmm.
like snow.
Why don't you move up
I
north?
don't like I don't like to get pounded with snow
Oh,
like
okay. Then don't move up north.
nonstop like my brother, like my
Yeah.
where my brother lives, they just like as soon as like August 15th hits or whatever,
That's my birthday. It snows on my birthday up there. That's
Yeah,
not
be
fair. It's
like a
supposed to be
happy
summer.
birthday. Yeah, and it snows until like July,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. They have two seasons up there. Really, most of
Hmm.
Michigan has two seasons, but up there they have only two
Yeah.
seasons. It's summer for about 3 months and winter for about 9.
Yeah. So it's like it's either snow or bugs.
Hmm. But they've got snow season and bug season. It's what's in the air. The
That's
bugs and
it.
pollen.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and you're right, Cats. I am north. I'm north of probably a lot of people, unless you're Canadian, then I'm
True.
not. But yeah, I think it's weird though because Michigan is insulated by the lakes, the Great Lakes that
Yeah.
surround it, right? And so it kind of keeps things, you know, it doesn't snow as much, but we get lake effect snow
Well, it depends. If
sometimes.
you're in the snow belt, then it snows way more.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember. I
Is that up
remember.
by Gaylord and stuff?
Yeah, up by Gaylord. I remember I grew up in the snow belt, and
Hmm.
I started to meet people online, and I met a few Canadians that were like miles and miles north of me. And I was telling them how cold it was and the amount of snow that we're getting, and they're like, "Where are you? Why is it so much colder where you live? There was like way more snow where you live." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Interesting. I guess because of the lakes. Because of the lakes,
Hmm.
it also, yeah. So it's a weird. So if you're south part of Michigan, you get a little bit of insulation. If you in the northern part of Michigan, you get the opposite, cold
Yeah, you just
insulation.
get pounded. Well, where you were at, that's like a higher elevation,
Oh,
you
is
know.
it? Okay, I didn't realize that.
So yeah, so the wind comes off the lake, and as it goes up
Mm,
the higher elevation, it dumps all the snow and
yeah. Oh,
um.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Not,
Oh
not.
geez,
I would not recommend it. Mm-mm.
that's cold. That's
Yeah,
cold. I don't
yeah,
mind it cold, but that's really cold.
yeah.
Morning, Savage.
Morning. Hey.
Good to see
Morning.
ya.
Wait, it's morning for me, but it's not morning for you. It is quite nearly evening, sir. Well, actually, it definitely is evening. That's funny.
Well, wait, it's 90 degrees there
Mm.
today?
Wow. That sounds awesome. I'm
That's where
excited.
you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out in that. I'm
You're gonna go outside in the
gonna go.
90-degree weather?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk later. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind it's not a humid climate, so it feels like 80 instead of 90. Except for when the sun touches you.
Yeah.
When the sun touches your skin, you're like, it's like you stuck your hand inside the like oven, and they're near the metal coils or something. I don't know. It's the sun is intense.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That heat.
Hmm.
Yeah, Savage. We
Hmm.
are going to see Baby Metal this weekend.
Yeah, Joan was telling me that just before the stream. I'm excited for you guys. That's so cool.
Baby Metal.
Where is that
Yeah, it's
at?
gonna be cool. Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. How long is
Yep.
that? How long of a drive is that going to be?
About 5 hours. It's
5 hours.
not
That's not too
too
bad.
bad.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be super cool, man. Like we've
Hmm.
been looking forward to this. I think we got the tickets back in the summertime, and it was just like, yeah, we're gonna go, we're gonna go.
It's finally coming around. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's this week or next week?
That's this week. That's like 2 days
Two
from now.
days.
We're
Oh
leaving.
man, that's so awesome. I bet you guys are super
Yep.
excited.
Yep.
Wow.
We're going to. We're going. So yeah, and we're doing it up, man. Because I was like, we're going to a concert. Last time I went to a concert, it was in Fort Wayne, Indiana,
Mm. Okay.
and that was Greta Van Fleet or something. That was a few years ago.
Sure.
But my buddy, got us the tickets, and he got a hotel room, and we stayed in a hotel like right across the street from the venue.
Oh, right,
And it
right.
was like, oh my gosh, that was so great. Even though the street that was there, for any of you who know like Fort Wayne and know where the big Coliseum thing is over there,
Mm.
the road that's there, it's like a divided highway with like 5 lanes in each direction. It's ridiculous. It's so like crossing crossing
Mm-mm.
the
Mm-mm.
street there was it was cool because it was like a huge crowd of people coming out of the event, and so
Yeah.
like what are they gonna do? Like what are they gonna they're
Yeah.
gonna run a whole bunch of people over, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you just kind of found your way in the crowd. So anyway, when we booked all this for Cincinnati, it's like right downtown. So
Mm.
like in the heart of Cincinnati, which I've never been in Cincinnati. I've been through Cincinnati, and it seems like a decent city. But we're like, yeah, let's just stay at a hotel. So we're staying at this high-rise downtown, hotel in the middle of the city,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's gonna be cool. So then we can just walk there, go to the concert, walk back. We're like 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
We also have to cross a huge highway, but there's a bridge over it.
Mm. That's not too bad though.
so, so that's
That's not
gonna
so
be
bad.
okay. Yes, Cats, you're right. It's not pedestrian friendly. That one, when we were going, it was like a Holiday Inn that we stayed at, right across from the Coliseum. And, it was, dude, that was nuts.
Well, at
But
least you don't have to walk it too
worth
many
it because
times.
then you're not fighting. You're not the worst part about concerts. Like I don't mind going to concerts. I don't, they're cool. They're fun. But getting there, I was always the driver.
Okay, well, that's
Like I was
typical.
always the
You're
guy.
always the driver, man.
Yeah. I was always the driver for everything, right? And I
Mhm.
don't know why. I just became that guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we drive to shows and then, you're trying to find a parking spot. And you're going to the blah 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 blah. And it's just a pain in the butt. And then you finally park your car and you're like a mile away from the event anyway when you're in the parking lot. And then you walk back and you get to your car and then you got to fight to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah. Right.
That's the worst part. Like I hated going to concerts because of that. Like the concert was great, but like the parking and all that kind of that was always the worst part. So this time and ever since we went, like last couple years ago, I was like, yep, staying at a hotel right by the venue. I was just gonna boil that into the equation as far as the cost is concerned, like so concert tickets are this much. Well, actually, no. The concert tickets are this much plus a hotel room. Like that's just worked into the budget, But yes, do the thing, baby metal. That thing.
That's hilarious. That's I love it. That's great. That's funny. You want me to like Mortal Kombat style kick? So you're asking me to do Savage Torment?
Do it.
Oh my god, well, no. I'm not gonna be able to do that, man. I am too old. I literally broke my back the other day. It was last week now. And I sneezed and my back literally just was like, nope. And yeah, I had to briefly I had to very quickly rather get to a chair and sit down and like scrunch up into a ball for like the next 40 hours. It was awful. It was awful. So I wouldn't recommend it.
Sneeze you have.
It wasn't even that strong of a sneeze. My muscles just didn't know what to do at that moment and tore my back apart instead. Yeah. 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 It was just like a normal sneeze, and then all of a sudden, I'm dying. Yeah, it wasn't fun. So I'm gonna pass on the kicking and all of that stuff.
Well, don't sneeze either.
Yeah, I will pass on sneezing as well, the best I can. No guarantees. Yeah. All right. So what do you say we do the show? We get on with
Well, I think
topic here.
that's a great idea. We've done the legal disclaimers. We've done all that stuff. Cats put the
Yes.
link in the chat. Thank you, Cats.
Cats.
You're awesome.
Again, if you want to
yes,
submit a
go
topic,
and
go to don'tworrywednesday.com. Again, with the disclaimers, we aren't professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along those lines, but we can give you our best from our own life experiences and from those around us. Wisdom is in the air and readily accessible if you get out. And that's what we're here to share today. Awesome. So,
yes,
Darkwing is
And-
actually... Yeah, go on. Go on.
Oh, sorry. Cats also put in the chat. Go order merchandise. Go to
Oh, wow.
the store. They should put the link in the chat for the store. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shop.bss.studio. Yes, and you get a box. I tell you what.
Sure.
I think since you guys started streaming,
Mm-hmm.
like we've gotten more orders.
Really?
Like I find myself boxing up stuff and sending it out.
That's fun. That's great.
A few times. Like it's picking up pace now. So now I'm like, oh dang.
That means Cat's
Where's
been doing
the
her job.
brother? Cats. Yep, you've been doing your job, Cats. Thank you. Where is the Brotherhood shop? The Brotherhood shop is in East Lansing.
So if you want to show up, don't know why you would. You just see cabinets or cabinets in the making, or probably just a bunch of wood. Maybe not even that yet. I don't know where you guys are at.
You don't really see much of anything. We don't even have signage out there yet.
There you go. You're just gonna see
it just
industries.
the exact location. Just little Brotherhood cabinets.
Do you want the
Go to Brotherhood cabinets. Do it in Google Maps, and it'll
Yeah.
take you there.
Do you want the coordinates? Oh my goodness.
It's like 16249 Upton Road or 16429 or something. Upton Road, East Lansing, Michigan. Blah 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 blah. Suite 2. Suite 2. So right now it says Lansing Condo Services.
Oh, you guys haven't changed that sign yet? That's great.
No.
Nobody knows what's behind these walls.
Yes, that's right. And we blocked out the window, so like you can barely see in there, you know.
Ooh. Hey, welcome, Tom. Change my YouTube name. Just call me Zoe. All right, Zoe. Will do.
Is it Zoe or Zoe?
Oh, is that Zoe? It does have an E at the end. Zoe. It's totally fine that you changed. Awesome. Thank you for being here. We're gonna jump into a topic now. We've got quite a few. I know Darkwing was here, but Darkwing doesn't even care if we do theirs. Darkwing, do you want us to do yours? We titled it Undo Guilt. If you are here with us still. I know that was a little while ago that you were. Otherwise, we've got some. Do we have any urgent ones? No, that's good. Well, we've got in order. There's buffering. Why don't we do balancing art?
Okay.
That was from September 17th, so that's a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit behind that one. Sorry, whoever posted this one. It looks like to be an anonymous one as well, so
we can totally do that.
Let's do this one. This one should maybe it won't take too long, or maybe it'll be a whole thing. We'll find out.
We're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna find out together. So, here we are. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this topic on the screen. It is from Anonymous, and it's titled "Balancing Art," and it reads as follows: How did you manage to balance constantly making art before BSS? Any tips for finishing art, song, novel, or drawing/painting consistently? Thanks for reading this. From Anonymous. Awesome. Nice and short. Thank you for keeping it short. Mm-hmm. So balancing consistency for any kind of art, I suppose. That's a really great topic, and it is difficult. Don't let anyone tell you differently. It is a difficult thing. Once you get into a rhythm, it becomes less difficult, of course, but nonetheless, it is hard, especially if you are unorganized or don't have a rhythm. A lot of people need rhythms, I would say, in their life to be good at this. Very few people are consistent when the world is constantly changing around them. Like they don't have a consistent work schedule. They don't have a consistent sleep schedule. They don't have a consistent eating schedule, whatever. A lot of people find it difficult to live in that kind of environment, but there's a lot we can say. So I'm going to jump out of the way and give it to the person I find would be the best person to talk about this, honestly. And that is Joe. Joe is a consistent person, and he's pretty balanced, even though sometimes he does occasionally get unbalanced. He finds his way back. Especially he's the guy that gets the most done ever. So I'm sure that's kind of what you're looking for. Ever of all human existence, really, if you think about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gets the most done ever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I believe that.
You only don't believe it because you can't gauge yourself based off of my own experience. But my own experience tells me that Joe is pretty awesome. So Joe is a hard worker, isn't he? Yeah, Joe's a super hard worker. So yeah,
never gets off task.
That's right. Joe never gets off task. That's so true. That's so true.
Savage, you know me better than that.
Okay, well, we all get off task from time to time. Definitely not sarcasm.
All right. Yeah, and that's definitely not either.
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, I appreciate that if I've put forth this image of you guys thinking that I, am very consistent, I guess I don't feel like I'm consistent. I do work hard,
Yeah, he works so hard though. When he
but
works hard.
and I work every day. I generally tend to work on stuff every day. But I think this is a really good question. How do you manage to balance consistently making art before? How did you manage to consistently making art before BSS?
Right.
Um,
Which is very specific and a really good idea, really good thought.
I can't think of before BSS very, very much because BSS has been a part of our lives for,
Mm.
geez, like 15 years now almost. Um, but I think it was interesting.
Maybe they mean
Gal.
necessarily they could mean before you were fully employed into BSS. So that might be an important take as well.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah. I mean, so here's the thing about art and music and stuff like that. When it's in you, it's just in you and you can't not do it, right? But
Mm.
even then, I can remember before BSS, I had gone in kind of like spurts, where I was all in and I was making music all the time and we were practicing when I was in a band, whatever, blah 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 blah. I got into a relationship and then a bunch of that kind of started teetering off because that's where I was at, and then when you have other people you're responsible for and whatever degree they believe in your craft or not, like you may or may not be doing it. I'm using a whole bunch of qualifying statements, I guess.
Oh no. Yeah.
But it's weird because like as an artist, as a musician, in my case, like I just can't get rid of that part of me, it just happens. And now, um, I feel like as far as music is concerned, I've been very off the radar screen, like inconsistent with making music since about the beginning of July because we started a cabinet making business. And so a lot of my time has been there. So there's a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of imbalance, it seems, in my case, because I will totally tip the scale in one direction, and I'll work really hard at whatever it is that the task is that I've been given, right? So, I think what Super Neon Blue said is really important. Super Neon Blue says just do it every day, even if it's just a little bit of work. Just do a little bit
Mm.
every day. And that maintains a consistency. So like, and when you get into that habit, it's almost like if you don't do it, once you have the habit developed of you're doing it every day, even if you have to schedule it and set an alarm to say, I'm going to do this, even if it's just for 30 minutes, I'm going to do this. Like, I remember when I was growing up and it was drums, playing drums, I had minimum played for a half an hour every day
Mm-hmm.
for years and years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Years. And just minimum 30 minutes a day, minimum. I didn't even know I was really doing it. I just did it. And I think that's the absolute case of just do it every day. And so now it's like I get up and I look at, all the stuff I have to do and I'm like, all right, I got to do this, 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 and this. And I have an app that I use called Tick Tick, not TikTok, Tick Tick, TickTick. It's a scheduling and like this app to kind of keep everything in order for me, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
a little widget on my phone I can hit when I think of something I need to do. I just hit that and I put it in my phone, boom. And then the next day when I open the app, like all those things that I put in there are listed in front of me and I can choose which ones I feel like I can fit into this day. I can prioritize them. I can be like, okay, that you start to learn like, okay, I can't do all of these today. I just simply don't have the time. So I have to choose which ones are the most important. And so you go through that, prioritizing task and you list all the things and you put these ones in today. And then I have a checklist on my phone of tasks to complete. And when I look at that, then it's like, okay, how quick can I check them off? How quick can I get rid of these? Boom, 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 boom. And then that's how I've been able to remain consistently hardworking at whatever the task was. So whether it was working in band instrument repair, that was different because I was an employee. And as an employee, I show up to work and somebody else tells me when I need to be there, and then somebody else tells me what I need to be doing there, and somebody else basically runs what I do, right? Like they are king of that time period each day, right? So they tell me what I need to do. Now, I've been self-employed for, my gosh, I've been fully only self-employed since 2014. Any other times I've owned businesses before that where I've been self-employed, but they were always kind of in conjunction with another job that I had. So now for 10 years, 10 years ago was the last time I quit my employment situation, and I've only been a business owner since then. And that you have to be disciplined enough to use this app like I have, like Tick or whatever. You have to have something where you're going to have your tasks and then just attack them. That's the way that I've done it. Other people work in different ways because sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes it's really easy to know what you need to go do that day. I know for the past couple months at the cabinet making shop, we've been working on the paint booth. And so you go in and we're like, okay, what's the next step of this paint booth? Paint booth, big, huge room inside your room that you know, has fans attached to it and filters and, you know, whatever. And so then you do all your painting in there and it sucks all the fumes out, right? So we've been building this, and I was actually in the VC of my server last it was Friday, this past Friday. I must have been in there for probably 8 hours because I just turned it on and I was painting. I was painting the paint booth. It took me like 8 hours to paint the inside of this paint booth, and it was ridiculous. And I was like covered in paint and all this kind of stuff, right? But it was what needed to be done next. And so it's really just a matter of having the discipline to get up and say, okay, I've got stuff to do, and then going and doing it. I try my best to be consistent. I don't feel like I am as much as I need to be because I get caught in doom scrolling on, you know, like YouTube or whatever, doom scrolling YouTube shorts or Instagram reels sometimes too. You know, I get caught up in that, and then all of a sudden 2 hours goes by and all you've done is flip through videos, you know. But I get caught into that. I also have time where I do gaming, you know, but really it's like I can't go more than a few days without trying to be productive in some area. And I think that's really just a habit that's been developed over the years, you know? So I want to be moving something forward. And I don't know, but I think it boils down to what Super Neon Blue said, you know. Oh, there's a whole bunch of chat
Yeah,
in
it's
here
really
now.
great. Thanks, guys.
Man, you guys are awesome. I'm gonna have to read some of this. But yeah, just do a little bit of work every day. Every day, just work on it, right? What do we got here? Drums only, drums, no thoughts, head empty. Nice. If you aren't at the point, Super Neon Blue says, if you aren't at the point where you can do it every day, set a day of the week to work on your stuff. Even if it's only a little, then work your way up from there. If you convince yourself that what you are doing is necessary and important, you will get it done. And I can't read your name. It's in some kind of Asian language or something. Says, doing something every day makes us good at the thing for sure, even for a short time. Yep, you're absolutely right. This may be it. TickTick.com. I don't know. Let's click this link and see. That's the one right there. And I have the paid version because I have so many lists that I keep track of. Like I have my shopping list and my
Mm,
to-do list and my, my bills list, and
sure.
all those lists are in there. And so I can check them off. But it's really cheap. It's only like $27 a year
Oh, wow.
to
Okay.
have their
Well,
paid version. So it's a pretty cheap subscription. But anyway, uh, okay, Super Neon Blue says you can't do time-based scheduling. I can do day-based scheduling. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't have, certain times that I do stuff unless I make appointments with people. Like Wednesday, I have a standing appointment with all of you guys.
yeah.
And that's at a pretty consistent time. Now today, it's funny that we mentioned consistent times
Yeah,
on
today's like
today
the only day we've
because
ever had it at the different time. 30 minutes late.
Mhm. Yep. So yeah, we've had but that's very consistent at this particular time. And it's been that way for years. And we plan on keeping it that way. Um but yeah, most of the time it's like it's not necessarily based on what time it is. It's like, okay, it's daytime. I've got to go do something, right?
Mm,
But, going back to this paint booth, so how to finish consistently. Think in terms of finishing. I have noticed that I'm really
mm,
good at self-sabotage, right? So I will, it's funny. I I feel like what it is that I'm always a little bit concerned about adding something to my plate, to add a whole bunch of effort to my plate, right?
mm,
And so I'll work on something, I'll work on something, I'll work on something, and when I get close to finishing it, there's something in my mind that says, "Okay, once I finish this, then I have all this other work to do that I don't wanna do." So, if I can prolong finishing it, that I don't have to
Ooh.
do that other work.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's an
So,
interesting
like,
conundrum. Never thought of that one.
mhm, and I've just recently noticed this about myself. It's like, why do I have this particular hang up? I'm, like, thinking in
Mm,
terms of, whether it's something to do with the cabinet shop or something to do with BSS or whatever, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't want what I'm like, "These tasks aren't that hard. It's not gonna be that hard to finish this. It's not gonna be hard to do this and finish it up and get it done." But then I realized, "Oh, my brain is thinking, once I'm done with this, then I'm gonna have a huge pile of work to do that I don't really necessarily know how that work is gonna go yet."
mm,
And so I have a little bit of fear of that new work coming in. And so then I will dilly dally and not do what I need to do and,
mm.
prolong finishing the thing so I don't unlock that new block of work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah.
Mm,
So once I've narrowed that down, now it's like, okay, now I need to reset my mind in terms of these are all just new adventures. So that's kind of what I'm trying to program myself with now. It's like, because finishing this will move us forward. Whichever company it is, whether it's Brotherhood Cabinets or it's Black Static and Swerve, either way, we've got stuff. If I can finish this, we go to the next level.
mm-hmm.
Why am I scared of the next level? Well, I'm scared of all the effort that the next level brings, and I don't necessarily know what that effort is like yet, but it's not going to be that big a deal because anytime I'm faced with a new piece of work, I just get into it and I get started and I figure it out along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that so many times. I should not be afraid of it, but that's a mental trick that's getting played in my head. Where it's like I don't want to do this other kind of work. I'm comfortable with this work. So it really kind of comes down to comfort zone again,
Mm, interesting.
you know? Comfort zones will destroy you. So if you find yourself in a comfort zone, you need to make yourself uncomfortable. One of the reasons why I really, really love Ryan's mantra of embrace the awkward because it forces you into discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where magic happens.
That's where we grow the
in
most.
the realm of discomfort. It's where we
Mhm.
grow the most. It's where we get most things done. That's all. It's just that's where success happens in any field is in the realm of discomfort when you're not comfortable. So those are some things that I have to think through. But I'll tell you, Anonymous, to finish things, get in the mode of finishing. Like just like getting into a habit of working hard. It's a habit that you develop over time. You just do it every day. You set, whether you set a time to do it or you just do it consistently every day, you're going to eventually develop the habit of working hard. And that's going to be great. Next habit is the habit of finishing. We had a thing that we would say, Ryan and I used to talk about this a lot. It's like, it's not done until it's public.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not finished until it's public. And so then when you're working on a project, if I want to get this project off my plate, it's got to be public. It's got to be released to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Only then is it done. But then I started thinking to myself, it's not even done then because then there's promotion.
Yeah, of course.
There's all that stuff. So it's like, all right, but at least that part of the project, the art itself, that project is finished when it's public.
Mm-hmm.
Then marketing and promotion is basically a whole nother set of tasks anyway. But anyway,
yeah.
I don't know. That's what I have to start. I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan. Ryan, it is all yours, my friend.
All right. Wow. I'll do my best. I don't have a whole lot to say. I think Joe did a really good job of covering this, of course, as he always does. I think that in my little bit here that I have to say is you just got to commit. And I know that that's obvious, but really it's what you need to do. And what do I mean by commit? So, let's say you're like, okay, I want to make art consistently. So for me, committing was literally creating BSS. So before BSS, how did I make art consistently? I basically just turned it slowly into a company where it became a high priority, right? That's what I did. That was how I did that. What did I have at the time? I had jobs, and I only took up part-time jobs because I knew if I had a part-time job, I would have time to make BSS happen, right? If I had a full-time job, I wouldn't have enough time. I wouldn't have enough time to do the things I think are important to me, right? So, it's knowing what you want, right? What do I want out of my art? Is it a hobby? That's great. If it's a hobby, then you could probably have a full-time job, and on your weekends, or here's what I was doing. I had a part-time job, which means I still had a full length whenever I was working. I worked a full-time job, but only for 4 or 5 days out of the week instead of 6 or whatever, right? Or maybe only 3 days out of the week instead of 6 or 5, whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. And some days I got to go home early. Most of the days I worked full shift, right? So when I got home, I was very consistent about, okay, I got home. What's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to go work on my art, right? I'm home. Maybe I'll eat dinner first, right? But after I eat dinner, I don't sit there and relax because doing my art is relaxing, right? It is doing something different with my brain that isn't the work I was doing, and it still serves as a form of relaxation. Okay, so maybe that's playing the piano, maybe that's singing and practicing, maybe that is composing, maybe that is drawing for you, maybe that is painting, maybe it could be so many things, right? Art is art. So if you don't make it your job, you have got like a part-time job or a full-time job. I would only accept part-time jobs personally, and that's for me. I'm not recommending it. I was just telling you my circumstance. My circumstance was I'm going to commit to this. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing because I'm going somewhere with it. And if I adopt the if I adopt the mentality of I'm going somewhere with this, I'm going to this destination, right? My brain will then operate like it's compelled and natural to work on my art, right? It's not something, if you adopt the mentality that your art is, let's say, okay, so there's a long-standing sort of idea that if you want to pursue art, you're never going to make it. Why would you pursue that? You need to go get a degree at college, blah, 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 right? There is that, right? And if you adopt that mentality when it comes to your art, you're going to feel ashamed when you work on your art. And that's not going to promote efficiency. That's not going to promote anything towards you actually getting it out there and getting it done and working on it consistently, right? So you have to buy into the idea that you're going somewhere with it, that it's useful, and that it's not shameful. Even if your only intention is for it to be a hobby, then consider it useful, a useful hobby to you, right? Don't consider it something that's shameful or anything like that. And if other people say those things, just count them out. They don't know what they're talking about, because really it's not. Art is an amazing thing. I mean, that's why it's literally art in a lot of ways tends to be the biggest, you could say, industry in terms of what makes money. But art is usually a conglomeration of arts together. So you've got visuals and audios. Like, what is a film? The film industry is huge, right? They're like, hey, we raised like $10 billion for this movie, and then we made like 300 million. It's like, that's crazy. Those are crazy numbers. But anyways, that's art. And so you have to consider your art real, important, and worth doing. And then you have to commit. Just say, well, I'm doing this. This is where I want to go with this. Where is that? Figure out where that is. And it might be nebulous. You might not exactly know. It's just a general idea of like, well, I want my stuff to be shared among people because they actually genuinely like it. That would be cool. Or it might be something a little bit more grandiose, like I want to be on a film crew that makes amazing, well-known films across the whole world. It could be anything, right? So my point is, commit to that. And if you set your mind there and you make a spot for it every day or whatever, for me, it was like, I got home from work, I ate, I'm working on my, and I don't usually call it working because really I'm just doing art. I do call it working, but I'm working on my art. I'm working on my passion. I'm working on something that I'm building up over time, right? And that's what generated VSS, right? So, and that's not just me, but that's how we did it as a company. We literally set time away from our regular work schedules to do these things because we wanted to get somewhere with it. So you have to adopt the mentality of it's worth doing, and you're going to commit because it's like, for me, I came to a point where I was like, what else am I going to do? Like what? Yeah. Quit doing art? Quit to what? Like, there is no better option out there for me. There is no better thing I could be doing with my time than this. Right? Because the effect I can have on people's lives with my art, there's nothing better I could be doing with my time when I first started doing all of this. So to me, it was like, this is an obvious yes always. And if you can get that way in your mind, you will find that you are being consistent, right? You will find yourself being at least pretty darn consistent. So build it up. Ask yourself the important questions if you have to. Then yeah, commitment. And I know that's hard, but Joe talked a lot about that already. So yeah, that's what I've got for you guys. That's what I got for you, Anonymous. Joe, did you have anything else you wanted to say to finish it off?
I wanted to put an exclamation point on what you said. Quit to what?
Yeah.
Because if this is an important part of your life, if making art is an important part of your life, and you, like you said, whether it's a song, a novel, or drawing, or painting consistently, all that kind of stuff, if that is an important thing to you, we only get one go around in this life. We're only here once, right? For however many years we're here, this is the time we have. And if you have something, some kind of desire in you, or some kind of talent, or some kind of skill, or something that you really love to do, or whatever, you should be doing it. You should be devoting your time to it, because that's your life consists of time. The crazy thing is like we get so caught up in the realm of making money. Now it's important to make money. We got to figure out how to have an income, because you got to live, you know? I mean, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy food. And you got to eat in order to survive,
and food is
right?
sometimes happiness. Let's be honest.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Now, you'd be surprised. Like, you might be surprised at how little you actually need to survive.
Yeah.
You know,
when you go bare bones, you realize you're happy without all of that extra fluff. That's a good feeling.
It is. It is a good feeling. And when you know that you don't need super extravagant everything, and you don't need everything that everybody tells you need, and, you know, whatever. When you start to figure out, I don't need as much money as everybody's telling me I need in order to survive, then you don't have to spend so much of your life and your focus into the making of money. And you can focus on what you love doing. And but you can also take art and music and whatever and make a career out of it and make money doing that. Ryan has shown us that as well through his life, because he's been, you know, pretty successful as a musician.
Sure.
And so it's like, great, you know, like, so there's an example. He's a great example of this. But I love what he said. Quit to what? What else are you going to do? What else is out there? Yeah, you can throw it all away and you can go focus on whatever. Like, you know, there are people in my life that if they had their way, I'd have been locked up in a factory all day sending money back to the house.
Make it important.
You know? But it's like at some point in time, you got to make a decision. What's my life here for? What am I here to do? What do I want my life to look like? You know, and you start to answer those questions, and it's like, really, it comes down to, how am I going to spend my time every day? Now, some people think, oh, well, if I just got rich and then I could, like, spend all day on the beach and, you know, whatever. Honestly, it would wreck the beach for you. If all you did was nothing and hang out on the beach all day, the beach would get boring. Because we are put here, like, there's this innate, you know, desire in us to accomplish something, to produce, to be productive, to do something, right? And when we don't do that, depression seeps in, you know, all kinds of stuff can seep in, you know, bad feelings, because we're not following what we've kind of been programmed to do from our inception, which is to do something. We're here to accomplish something. But it looks different for everybody. And it makes me so upset when we put so much emphasis on, you know, the professions that make the most money. And everybody's like, oh, those are the professions that you need to be pursuing, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but that's maybe not what I'm put here to do. Maybe I'm not here to be a lawyer. Maybe I'm not here to be a doctor. Maybe I'm not here to be a civil engineer. Maybe I'm not here to be, you know, some kind of whatever. Maybe I'm here to make music. Maybe I'm here to make YouTube videos. Maybe I'm here to send a message to people. Maybe I'm here to rally a crowd around, whatever. Who knows? What's that?
So maybe I'm here to make someone smile. You know?
Yeah. Well, you are here for that. I guarantee every single one of you is here to do that, to make a difference in the lives of others. And you're just your little day-to-day stuff, right? But that's where we feel fulfilled, is when we're actually producing, and when we're working, when we're putting forth effort. Those are the days when I feel the best. is when I've
Mhm.
put forth a bunch of effort and I've worked toward something. I've worked toward, accomplishing something. And that's one of the reasons why I like owning a business so much more than being an employee is because when I'm an employee, it was just like, I go in and I do the same thing and I'm not attached to any form of accomplishment, building anything, whatever. I'm just there for the paycheck. And it really became empty for me.
Mm.
I know people who have had lifelong careers and been satisfied and great and then retired and whatever and had a great life and whatnot. That's great. For me personally, I had to see some kind of progress toward a goal. And as an employee, I was just filling a spot doing a task over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, doing that same thing. And it wasn't in pursuit of building something.
Mhm.
Now, with owning companies, I can do that and I can base my work, my efforts on, what direction are they taking our companies, right?
Mhm.
And that is more fulfilling to me. And I think that's one of the reasons why the arts are so fulfilling for artists is because you put in all this effort and you create something and it's beautiful and it's, whatever. Whether it's visual art, music, writing, all that. You you're creating something of value to give to the world. But don't forget to give it to the world though. Because that's another trap as a musician or an artist. I worked on music for years and years and years. I was caught in this trap where it was like, I'm making music, because I love music and I'm a musician and this is what I do, right? But I would never release it. I would never share it. And I was always embarrassed if somebody came
Mm.
across it. And there was always that, fear of rejection and, maybe somebody's not going to like it and whatever. But the I had to discover that the point of doing all this stuff is to share it with the world, is so other people can experience it and enjoy
Mm.
it. It's not just for me sitting, creating songs in my bedroom. It's to share with the world. And Ryan inspired me and he embraced that mentality and he made that his purpose where he's like, I'm going to create music, but I'm not just going to create music for myself. I'm going to create music that other people are going to enjoy, that other people have the chance to enjoy. But not only that, it helps them gain wisdom in their life. If you listen to the lyrics in the Criminal Idol series and in a lot of his songs, most of them actually, there's not, I can't think of a song of yours, Ryan, that is like about some kind of benign thing and it doesn't have any meat to it,
Sure. I think the only
you know?
one that would maybe be kind of close to that would be "It's Not Like I Like You," which is the most popular song. But at the same time, it still has something of me. I mean, but it's just not that deep, you know.
That's got a great lesson though.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of
Girls
lessons in
are
there.
like this.
Yeah, yeah, that's what the lesson is. Yeah, take what you want from that, I guess. That's funny.
Sorry, I'm not sexist. I
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, that's it.
Mm,
What else are you gonna do? Anonymous,
yeah.
quit to what? If you decide to go in another direction, what is that other direction? Is that
Hmm.
gonna be more fulfilling for you? But yeah, that nailed it for me. So
Right.
thank you,
That's
Ryan.
awesome. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thank you for covering this. And I think that um, hopefully, well, we did our best, that's for sure. And if you took anything out of that, I'm really happy and pleased. A lot of that you probably already thought of before and know, but I think it's still worth saying, even if it does nothing but reiterate things in your mind so that you can start making habits of them. Um, but yeah, or be reconfirmed that you're on the right track. But yeah, thank you, Anonymous, so much for this topic, and we wish you the very best in all of your art and whatever it is you're trying to pursue um, in life. I think Joe really said something important. You know, we want things to be meaningful and purposeful, because otherwise we can end up feeling empty, even if we have like a really high-paying job or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if we find purpose in that job and that job is meaningful and useful and good to the world, I think that can be very fulfilling. But things can feel kind of empty if you look too deep into them and you're like, oh, I'm here just to make money for the sake of money. That doesn't really do anything like for anybody in the end. So it's nice to have those deep thoughts from time to time and ask yourself why. If you can have those thoughts, it's really useful to help guide you into the direction you want to go in and help confirm or activate some form of motivation to start driving there. So, yeah. Hi, Ellie. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Hey, Ellie.
And Super Neon Blue is right. You can go ahead and if you want to work alongside us, if you like working with people there or just to, just people, some background noise and chatting, Nyansai and I do 12-hour streams where we, twice a week we stream for 12 hours and a lot of people just come and hang out and work. So it's pretty cool. Chill. But anyhow, yeah. Yeah, thank you again, Anonymous. Really appreciate your topic. Right. You ready for the next one, Joe?
Yeah. Is Darkwing back?
Darkwing
I saw
did say
Darkwing
hi.
came back. Yeah.
Yeah, they said meep, and then
and I said moop.
Moop. I like that.
I replied to your meep with a moop.
I love that. I think that's the best thing you could have done. Meep moop. Yeah, Darkwing, are you once again available? I think you've got a great topic. It's titled Undue Guilt. But yeah, art is a way to express yourself. Only you need to like it, and some others will like it too, and others won't. That's right. Yeah, that's true. But what it is to you means the most. Yeah, fair enough. I think that well, I guess it depends on what you're doing with it. Some people draw art because it's a expression of self. I think that's great. Me personally, I don't draw art for that reason or write songs for that reason. Usually, I mean, maybe there's some amount of expression of self, but I think that, we have our different reasons or motives for doing art, and I think that's really cool too. So, it's an interesting field because I've felt like for a long time I'm an artist who is not. I don't have the mind of an artist. I just have the I have the mind of something else, and then I am good at art, like my art form.
You have some kind of, your mind is something else.
Yeah, my mind is something
That's
very
for
different.
sure.
Yeah, it is. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like artists struggle with a lot of things, and I look at that and I go, I don't understand. And then they're also like, they say things, I'm like, I wish I could relate to that. Like, I wish I knew what you were talking about, but I can't imagine that. Like, Joe, you're exceptional. Like, you say like some of the best music you've ever written is when you feel like just so broken inside, and
Yeah,
you can just pour your heart out
very
into
true.
your music. And for me, I go, that doesn't even really compute. I don't understand that. And that's great. It's great that we're so different. But yeah, I look at that and I think, how does that work? That's amazing. So yeah. Yeah, for me, when I'm sad, I can't do art. Yeah, I can't do anything.
Really?
Fair. So that's great for Joe. I know, right? That is super great for Joe.
Great for Joe.
I wish I could relate. Yeah, I wish I could relate.
Well, sadness is different.
Okay.
It's not usually when I'm really sad. If I'm really sad, then I don't really have the energy to do much of anything, right?
Okay.
But when I'm really stressed out or upset, like, this is different. It's a little bit different,
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
fair enough.
those are the moments where I can take all that discomfort and I can throw it into my instrument.
Yeah.
You can't work when you're stressed either. Okay. Yeah. Well,
That's pretty amazing.
Hey, then let's not stress you out because you got work to do.
Let's not go down that road then, hey? Pretty good idea. I like that.
Let's keep you being positively emoted upon.
Yeah. So Darkwing might be here, but Darkwing expressed that they don't even remember what their topic was about. So They haven't responded since, so I'm just gonna go to the next anonymous one. Is that all right?
Sure.
This was on October 9th, so that's actually at least a little closer, but it's still a long time ago, so we really do need to get through these. This one's from anonymous, and it is actually, this one's not from anonymous. It's from Anon, which is short for anonymous, but
Anon.
it's distinct. Anon.
Anon.
Anon. It's titled Dignity and Worth. I'm gonna go ahead and do my due diligences here. And
Hey, Saule, what up?
Sole,
Good to
hey,
see you.
what's up? Nice to see you. Stop. Hold on. Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, gotta figure it out. All right. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put. Oh, that is not it. Wait, I just have to press one button. Give me a moment. There you guys go. Sorry about that. So, yeah, we got it. Anyhow, I'm just gonna mess with the screen a little bit here and there, and we're gonna find our way through it. So this is from Anonymous. It's titled Dignity and Worth, and it reads as follows. Feel free to read along if you desire, and it's quite short. You've probably already read it if you've been. So, it says, how can we realize our dignity and worth? How can we realize our dignity and worth? From Anonymous. This, I think, is a really important, really important question, and one that might be more important now than in most of the recent history of humanity. I won't say in the distant history of humanity necessarily, but right now I think this is a really good question, because I feel like how we see ourselves and how we see each other, dignity and worth, is really crucial and important, because it's how we predicate, it's upon which we predicate our actions towards others, our feelings towards others, and especially ourselves. What we allow ourselves to go through, whether we get stomped on or not, what we allow ourselves to do to others who we stomp on, or whatever, right? We can degrade ourselves. We can do indignified acts towards people or even objects. And I think it's important to, right now, maybe more than ever, have a discussion about it. So I think this is a really great topic, Anonymous. And I'm proud of you for asking it. I think it's a really important thing. And if this is something you're struggling with, I feel you, I understand, and I hope that we can cover in a way today that lifts your spirit and helps you to realize your dignity and worth, helps you to find yourself through this experience, and sort of come out of it feeling, well, dignified, empowered, worthy of something, good. And so, with all that said, Joe has always done a good job of making me feel amazing, dignified, and worthy of greatness. And he's got such a character for that. So I'd like to give it over to him and see what he's got.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I've got. I'm
It's a hard
Anonymous,
topic.
thank you. It is. Well, there's a lot of different directions that can be taken here. How do we realize our dignity and worth? And like Ryan was saying, I think this is a very important topic right now. And in the climate of where we are, especially the United States, we're really divided, right? And
Yeah.
so let me tell you where you don't find your dignity and worth.
I think that's a great place to start.
We'll
The
start with
opposite.
this. Where do you not find your dignity and worth? But sometimes it feels like you find your dignity and worth. You don't find your dignity and worth when you're part of some kind of a group. So you don't find, so like I said, in America, we're divided, and there's a lot of divisions going on. And there's, so you've got, we just had an election, so you got the right versus the left. And I really enjoy being an independent because I can just look at both sides and be like, you guys are all off track. You're all dumb. Like,
y'all are crazy. Now hate me, both of you.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Alfonso.
Yo, yo.
Thanks. Going for some kind of beard. It started off with just being lazy, and then now here it is,
Yeah.
and I like it. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had a beard in a long time, and I'm cool with it. So anyway, so I used to be, there years ago I used to be a Democrat. Years ago I used to be a Republican. And being part of those groups, it felt good to be included. Like when you go to an event with the people that are around you, like you feel part of that group and you feel good, right? So it makes you feel good. But being a part of that didn't give me dignity or worth. It just made me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But then eventually what happens is you discover that maybe I don't line up exactly with all these things that they're on about. And as soon as you're not, then it's like you're out.
Mm.
So then you get dropped, okay? So like finding our dignity and our worth is not found in a group or a mob or like whatever. We don't like it can feel good to be part of a group. It can feel good to feel part of a movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't find dignity and worth in that. I never have been able to find that. I've found good feelings and that's it. And then eventually what happens is, for some reason I don't line up with something, some little detail of whatever's going on. And then all of a sudden I'm no longer part of the group and I'm out. And then I might as well just be the enemy. I'll be the other side of the group. So yeah, so for a while I was Democrat, then I was Republican, and spent times in both those camps, and found out that I'm not gonna whole hog either of what you guys are, saying. So like, I can point out what's good on both things, and I can point out what's bad on both things. And I don't have to subscribe to it. Another place we don't find our dignity and worth is in some kind of diagnosis of a disability of some kind or whatever. These are all external labels that we give ourselves. And like I could say to myself, well, I'm an empath, right? And that would be true. Like I have a lot of the traits of an empath, a very empathetic person. I feel feelings with people. I'm quick to pick up the feeling in the room. I'm to notice that and
Mm-hmm.
to pick up on it, and then to engage with people who are feeling a certain way, and to really be able to relate. It gives it's a certain type of power that like is really really cool to experience, but it doesn't give me dignity and worth. It just gives me a label. And so we don't find dignity and worth in our labels either. So, and that can be anything, you know? It can be the movement we're a part of, the group we're a part of. It can be some kind of a diagnosis of a disability. It can be some kind of whatever. Anytime we label ourselves, it can make us feel like we fit in somewhere, but it
Or that we
doesn't give us
stand out in a
dignity and
special way.
worth. Or that we stand, yes, exactly. Yep. Exactly. But our dignity and worth isn't really found there either. These are all kind of like empty pursuits. So I don't like being labeled anything. I don't like any kind of label. I am me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I am not a stereotypical male. I am not a stereotypical female. I'm not a stereotypical anything, I hope. I am myself, and I'm unique. And I think that is as close as I've come outside of prayer, meditation. Really, I had to go through a lot of wrestling with God and with who I was as a person, with a lot of things spiritual, in order to get to the point where it's like, okay, I do have dignity and value. No matter what's going on around me. And I never found it in any label that I had. I never found it in any group that I was a part of. I didn't really necessarily even find it in religion per se, but that helped me be guided to where I'm at now, where I know that each and every one of us has infinite dignity and value. All of us do. Because we're all human and we're all ourselves. And it doesn't matter if somebody's better than me at something or if I'm better than somebody else at something. I bring me to the table, whatever that is. And I think, honestly, if you're wanting to feel better about your own dignity and worth and value, I think one of the best ways to get there is to do something for someone else without expecting anything in return.
Mm.
I think that's one of the best avenues to feeling like you have dignity and value, and to really understand when you start to see yourself make a difference in other people's lives, you can get more of a sense of that value that you bring, that value that you are. And sometimes it takes being around the right people. Because, and this is another reason why being a part of the group can be very deceiving, being a part of any kind of group, because you might get all kinds of accolades, all kinds of, like, maybe not accolades. You might get all kinds of encouragement and all this kind of stuff, but they might be leading you in a direction that you don't necessarily agree with, but you're there because they make you feel good about yourself. And it might be a little bit empty because it's not about you and the fact that they love you. It's about the agenda that they're trying to push. And I remember coming into that, I remember getting this realization with a mentor of mine. This was a really hard lesson to learn. I had a mentor in business years and years and years ago. Oh, hey guys. Hey, Unknown Bite. Hey, Twashu. Good to see you guys. I had a mentor in business and we were working really hard. We were working on, trying to build certain kind of business. And then, Ryan and I started working on the music project, which was right in line with what my calling in life was and what Ryan's calling in life was. And we started doing this project. And it was for the company that we were a part of that I was helping to build a business in. And it was kind of like a personal franchise type of a deal. And I had a mentor there who didn't understand the importance of the calling for Ryan and I to make music and to do this direction. And so he just saw us shift directions a little bit. And that made him really upset because my focus was now shifted. And it made him really cold. Right? He said some hurtful things. We discussed it. That was where I learned how not to apologize. Because he was like, I'm sorry you got mad. That's not a real apology. But I remember going through that experience and understanding, wait, I felt so good as part of this group, as part of these things. But as soon as I was no longer pursuing the agenda, the same agenda as these people, I was like out. I wasn't as worthwhile anymore. So that's the danger when you join some kind of a movement or some kind of organization, and it's deceptively good feeling, makes you feel like you have dignity and value. But then as soon as you go off the track of the agenda a little bit, you no longer have that dignity and value to them. Because it's not about you. It's not about you and building you into who you need to become. Even if that's what they say it is, it's not about that. It's about their agenda. And I would say that would be a killer of dignity and value. Doesn't feel like it at the time. When you're in it, feels really good. But then as soon as you get to that point where you're not pushing the agenda the way they want you to, you're out, and now you're no longer valuable. That's really sad. So I would say, listen to me and understand you, as you, have dignity and value. Just being you. Just being yourself. And I'm going to love you. If I were to meet you, I wouldn't have any ill will. I'd be like, hey, here's a person. This person is just as full of dignity and value as I am, and as any of my friends are, right? I have really close relationships with with my friends, and we encourage each other, and we accept each other as we are. And if somebody decides to go in another direction, if somebody decides to switch and change and move in a different way, it's not going to change how much we love them and how valuable they are. It's not going to change that. So I would say a couple things you can do. One, try and be loving to other people. The commandment of Jesus is to love God and love neighbor. So if you love the source of all things, you understand the source of all things that are in this world, in this universe. That's what we call God. And to love him is huge. And then to love others is that other step. And when you start to do that, when you start to have unconditional love for your fellow man and for the world around you, that's when you start to realize not only you start to feel small because everything around you is so huge, and there's so many people in the world, and the universe is so huge, and the world is big. You start to feel kind of small, but you also start to feel infinitely important because you're bringing love into the equation. And so I'd say that's one of the best ways. One of the best ways to feel dignity and worth is to love and show love for others. And I'm having a pastoral speech. Oops. I'm glad, hopefully you're enjoying it, I guess. But that's the truth as far as I can tell. And so anyway, I don't know, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Ryan said that I have a good way of helping him feel valuable. And
Twashu agrees.
And
well,
Twashu agrees too?
Twashu said the same. Yeah.
Aw.
That helps. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad. You've done the same for me. I hope you realize that, because if I've made you feel that way, there's a really good chance you've made me feel that way twice as much. So you're actually better than me.
Oh, snap. That's great.
There.
Oh yeah. What now? What now? Oh. Take that. So anyways, yeah. No, I
No,
think
you.
that was beautiful, Joe. And I'm gonna kind of write off of some of the things you said. You said um, one of the best ways to start realizing your dignity and worth is to do things for people without expecting anything in return. And I think that's true. Super Neon Blue said, I think for me that doesn't quite work because I don't see value in what I do for others, even though I try. And I think the point is to get yourself into the habit of loving without, like, the point of doing that isn't necessarily for the doing. It's to get yourself into seeing the world through the right lens, through the lens of what love really is, not what love pretends to be at times.
Yes.
Because sometimes we do things and we think we're being loving, but there's some kind of condition that's underlying, right? So unconditional love is that which offers and doesn't expect anything in return or want anything in return. But many times we find ourselves, we love, and, you know, I can't say many times we find ourselves, but there are many times that I know in my youth, my love has been somewhat conditional, like, and it could be something like, I'm doing these nice things for this person because I'm really attracted to them and I love them. And then I found out later that the reality is internally, I wanted that person to love me back.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. There's nothing wrong with wanting love, but that to do things under the guise that that is what I was doing, like what I was doing was loving, maybe perchance it was a small amount of love, but my love could have been more pure in that I wasn't doing it for some underlying motive, right? Yeah, I guess for me, I've never really had those thoughts that I want something for others or from others. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. Of course. So
That's because you're amazing.
yeah, we can't help that you're already amazing.
I know, right?
Jeez.
Right.
So anyways, so how do we realize our dignity and worth? There's a lot I want to say, but I don't want to take it too slow. So I'll try to go through some things, some thoughts. One of the best things you can do to help realize dignity and worth, especially for yourself, but also things around you. This is an important thing. Everything on this planet, everything that is made up of material has a certain amount of worth and dignity. That worth might be different from one person to another, right? Like the classic example, a wrench, right? You're not building anything. You're not in construction. A wrench has no value to you. You would rather just leave it on the ground if you saw it. Like that belongs to somebody else. But somebody who does do that kind of thing, there's worth there. There's value for them because that's part of their job. That's their intention, is what they like to construct things, right? And so worth is a weird one because worth can mean different things through different lenses. But whether or not that wrench has worth to you, it still has dignity in what it is, right? So it's a really hard thing to grasp that. And so what I want you to do is think about, this is the best way I can sort of, sorry about that. What?
Oh,
My computer
what
is
happened to
having
you?
problems. Hold on, I'm gonna do something. Let's see, hold on one
I
second.
mean, you're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. I'm gonna.
It's just
gonna
you're
do
like a
this.
bunny rabbit.
Yeah. Everyone heard those disconnecting sounds. Sorry if you're on your computer and you're thinking something just disconnected. I'm gonna fix that real quick, and then I'll carry on with my topic, or maybe I'll carry
Good
on.
luck fixing it. It was me.
Thanks.
I hacked into your
Oh
system.
no! Why would you do that, Joe? I loved you. And all right, hold on.
Because I love you too,
Oh,
and
thanks.
I want you to grow in your ability
Oh,
to handle these types of things.
dang. Well, wow. Okay. There we go. They should be coming back. Hopefully. There we go. Okay. Sorry
Come
about that,
on
guys.
back. Hey, Savage.
Aha, we got it. We got it working again.
Yes, the
Okay.
Criminal Idol songs do rock.
Yeah, thank
They're
you.
fun to play along with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, as I was, it's quite unfocused now. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the focus correct. Here. Okay.
Oh,
There we go.
whoa! What are
Beautiful.
you doing?
Okay. So, anyways, as we were. Okay. So here's the way that we need to think about things in order to see dignity. Everything has dignity. Every object, every person, right? And the dignity is different, but it has dignity. It has inherent value or worth, right? And so how do we see that? I want you to try to become someone who is a builder and not a destroyer. A builder of good, right? And yeah, we want to destroy evils that want to destroy the goods, let's say, right? And we can recognize there are powers or people or whatever, things that are built to destroy good things. And to protect those things is good. That is a dignified thing to do. So to be a protector of good, to be a protector of the innocent, to be a protector of innocence, let's say, is dignified. What makes it dignified? All that is good is inherently value in its own goodness. Okay? And all that is innocent is naturally good. Okay. Here's the way I think the best way you can think about it. If you can be a builder of good, that means your mind is always focused on how do we increase the good? How do we build up the goodness, the nature of things? Rather than trying to destroy things, you will start to notice the dignity in things because your practice will be dignified. So I'm going to give you an example Joe was just talking about. There are a great number of people on either side of politics, okay? I shouldn't say either side. There's many sides. There's many sides of politics, right? Some of them spend millions of dollars, okay, on both sides, right? On every side. People spend millions of dollars just trying to cut the other one down and show them how terrible of a party they are and that party is evil and gross and they're wicked, whatever, right? That's a distraction. That is indignified. That is not dignified to act like that. Because it doesn't actually help with the main thing that we're trying to do, and that is to make a better place to live in, right? So this is relating to Joe's example. If we want to be happier and live better lives, we work towards the good and we lift up the good. We don't exonerate, we don't honor the bad by literally speaking about it all the time, right? Because that doesn't do us good. So if we're dignified, we look at people and we say, yeah, they have sins that they've committed in the past. I love them anyways, and I want to spend time trying to help them become the best version of themselves, rather than spending time trying to destroy them and bring the bad out of them, right? Mm-hmm. So no matter who you're like, no matter who you voted for, this is true. This is a dignified way of being. Why is it dignified? Well, it honors that which is good. It honors that which is good, right? So dignity is, in a way, honoring that which is good, right? That which builds, that which moves things forward, right? If new science comes along, right, and we have the ability to increase living, increase the good of our lives, maybe it's medicine or something like that, right? That's a beautiful thing, and we should honor it. Plants, how we create these medicines, it's dignified. when someone goes and they thwart that good by either creating it and then putting a patent on it so that nobody can use it, and then not even making it themselves just because it's going to support their own little market and make them more rich, that's indignified, right? We recognize that that kind of activity, that behavior, isn't good. It isn't dignified. It doesn't actually support the good of humanity. What it does is it thwarts the good that could be, right? So, if we start acting like people matter, we're going to start to realize the dignity of things. I'm going to cut it down to another object. You have a stuffed animal, okay? Stuffed animal, it's cute, you like it, it's stuffed animal, right? People tend to treat stuffed animals as if they have dignity. And that's good. That's dignified. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. Even though it's just a lowly stuffed animal, it means something. It's built. It's built for what? It's built for comfort. It's built for joy. It's built for attachment. It's built for its cuteness. It's built for its novelty. It's built for all sorts of different reasons, right? But in what it is, its existence can be good. And if we celebrate its goods, if we take care of the stuffed animal, we don't try to like sully it on purpose and then, rip it in half and burn it, whatever, right? Things like that are destructive. The way we treat the animal can be dignified, and it in itself, its innocence and dignity is reserved, and it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so how do we realize our own dignity and worth? Okay, there's a great number of things that we do on a daily basis, probably, that is indignified, right? We can recognize, without saying this one, because, there are activities which we can pursue which bring us different levels of pleasure, right? That are undignified. There are certain things that we should not be doing with our time, and we do them. Why? Because we're seeking pleasure over good. We're seeking pleasure over the nature of the object, the innocence of the object, right? We're seeking that pleasure over its own good. And so if we can stop doing that, right, that helps us a little bit, right? That helps us to see the world clearer, right? So the more we get away from doing those things, the more we get away from undignified acts, the clearer the line is to us and the less we want to cross it. So in those, we become more aware of dignity and how it's being trampled by society, by ourselves, by the world we live in, right? Mm-hmm. So the less we engage in indignified acts, the more we start to see how solid and closer that line is to us. The point of doing these things, into response to your question, how do we realize our own dignity and worth? The more you can recognize what's indignified, the more you will also recognize what is dignified and that it's worth protecting, right? Mm-hmm. That it's worth treating well and kindly, that it's worth trying to help that the nature, the goodness inside of the nature of that object or person flourish. So if we can do that, we will start to realize better. Each person has infinite dignity that we trample on all the time. And when we live lives where that's the norm, we start to completely forget that dignity even exists because we don't even see the lines anymore. We don't even see the good anymore. And so you have to start being able to see the good in things before you can start to recognize what is the good of that nature. What is the natural good that person or object contains or is or has or can do or whatever. A lot of what Joe was saying earlier was, what is dignity not? what is not dignity, what is undignified. And, you know, I think that's crucial, because if you can't tell what is good, you also can't tell what is bad. And that puts you in a position that you're incredibly vulnerable. You're incredibly vulnerable to be stepped on and used. And I know many of people who have, pretty much everybody I know has been in that position in their lifetime. I've been in that position. My wife has, Joe has. Everybody I know has been at one point or another in that position where we don't see how poorly we are being treated, or what we're doing to ourselves even, because we have stopped drawing the lines of what's good and what's bad. Unfortunately, Anonymous, I cannot answer this question with dignity without the constructs of what is good and what is evil, or what is holy and what is evil, because inherent in the nature of good and bad is the recognition that good and bad must exist. And the understanding of dignity. Nothing has dignity or worth at all, ever, if you are a nihilist, for example. Right? Because nothing means anything. Right. Nothing has worth. Nothing can be dignified. So it's important to be able to look through the lens where you see that there are good things, and you cherish them. And you cherish them enough to protect them and stand up for them, including yourself. How can you realize the dignity and worth of yourself? It's an interesting thing, because you can look at people who are disabled, maybe mentally disabled. They can't have solid thoughts. They can't talk on deep subjects, whatever, right? So we look at those people and we don't just dismiss them and say, oh, there's nothing good there. There's nothing valuable. There's nothing worth anything, right? There are societies that do that. There have been societies in the past that do that. A classic example is the Roman Empire, right? You're just like, oh, that person is mentally disabled. Okay. Then kick them out of society, because they'll never be useful to you. Because they can't do the things, they can't function the way that they would need to in order to make you money, or in order to live up to your standards, right? The world we live in today looks at those people, and we don't treat them that way. We treat them as if they have dignity. Why? Because they do have dignity. Because they do have worth, right? They do have those things. So when we look at each other, and we can recognize that that's true, that when we see people who are handicapped in one way or another, just because they can't perform as well as other people, just because other musicians maybe can't play the piano as well as I can, or, I mean, quite honestly, I can't play the piano as good as many pianists. We don't separate those. We don't look at that and go, okay, well, you know, that person's not as valuable, or, you know, Sadie P just isn't worth as much. As a human being, you might say, okay, I'm willing to pay this price for that person and a higher price for the other, who is, you know, that's, of course, that makes sense. But we don't look at them as a human being, and in their dignity and in their core value as a human being, and say, just because they can't do or perform, we don't think less of them, right? Sorry about that. It seems like we had an internet hiccup. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I was like, all of a sudden, stopped.
Hopefully we're okay. Hopefully did the stream stop?
I am guessing so, because I was saying stuff and not getting any responses in the chat. So.
Okay. Well,
I'm
okay.
guessing this.
One or the other. The point is, if we have a handicapped person, we still recognize their dignity. So now, whether, Anonymous, you are handicapped or not, look into the mirror and say, you have to recognize that it would be unfair of you to look at yourself and not treat yourself with dignity, not aim to be a builder of good, within yourself. Because you are a builder of good when it comes to others. You look at them and you lift them up. You see the good in them and you strive to increase it. When you see someone who is handicapped in one way or another, maybe it's just that they're short, maybe it's that their brain doesn't function correctly. It could be many things, right? But you see someone who is handicapped and you reach out to extend your hand and help, right? And in an ancient world, that would be the person that doesn't have worth or value. Why? Because they can't do things that are worth anything or worth as much as somebody else's actions. They are a, quote, hindrance or a cost to society that doesn't bring about any good to society, is the way people used to think about that. How ruthless and evil is that? That doesn't celebrate their goodness. That doesn't celebrate their dignity. That is so ridiculous. It's so unfair. You look at that person, you say, this is an incredible human being we have here. This is someone worth protecting. This is someone worth dying for. Like literally, when you have someone who's like if something insane happens, like maybe a plane is going to crash or something, whatever, right? Someone has the option to save another person. We don't look at someone and be like, oh, you know, everybody's helping themselves out. And then there's this person who can't even help themselves out because they're handicapped. There are many people who are just worried about protecting themselves, right? But there are people in this world who look at that handicapped person and says, that person can't help themselves. I'm going to immediately go and help them right now before I even help myself or before I help, anybody else, right? Why do we do that? Because we're not even celebrating, we're preserving the good. And handicapped people tend to be some of the most innocent people in the world, right? And we love them. And we love them indistinguished for what they can do. We love them. And that capacity to receive love and to give love back that they have is incredible. So we should be honest with ourselves. The only way you're going to recognize dignity and worth of yourself is to be honest with yourself and say, I'm a broken person too. Maybe I'm not as handicapped as some other people. But the handicappedness of a person doesn't make them more worth or less worth. Doesn't make them more dignified or less dignified. It just is that we're all infinitely dignified, infinitely worthy, or infinitely valuable, not necessarily worthy, but infinitely valuable. So that's my response to this question. I hope that it was helpful. I hope it helps to start to draw some lines and allow you to not be stepped on, and to recognize like there are certain things in you, certain goods in you that are worth maximizing and protecting from those who would seek out to destroy you. I mean, we see so much of that, especially, unruly amounts in the political world, right? That Joe was referring to, where literally would spend like millions of dollars on how do I make this other person look as crappy as possible, and force them into a position where they show the worst sides of them, so that I can reveal them and so on. What maniacal behavior that is! That is terribly indignified, right? So if you want to realize your own dignity, then you live in the world where you recognize dignity around you and you recognize what is undignified. And the more you do that, the more you can start to see it. And the more you can start to just feel it and recognize it and live that life out. That's the best I've got. And I hope that can be helpful to you. Joe, do you have anything you want to touch on more with this topic? Feel free to do so.
Well, I was just, as I was thinking about this, coming to these conclusions isn't always a straight path, and it's not always easy to come to, right?
Yeah.
When you,
Right.
a lot of times to get to the point where Ryan, so like for Ryan, to get to the point where he is and he understands what he does about dignity and value and worth and all that. He's had to go through some stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There are many a great story. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So I want to offer you some encouragement because if you're asking a question and you're not there yet, I mean, and Ryan and myself both, I'm sure, would say we haven't got this figured out. We're still on the journey. We're still figuring this out.
Yeah.
And we are, we only have it unlocked to a certain level,
Yeah. Give it 5 years.
right?
We might have a new variance of this answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will deepen,
Mm-hmm.
and it will hopefully be more profound, but the point is that you don't get to that level where you're talking like Ryan is talking without going through hardship, without going through the doubt, without going through the times of struggle. Those are inherent in our journey. And I had to go through a time where I didn't think there was dignity in anything,
Mm.
where I thought all of it was just garbage. The entire universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy when you're going through one of those times to lose hope. And maybe, Anonymous, maybe you're in one of those periods now. And maybe that's why you're asking the question. So I want to encourage you, even when you're feeling that way, it's part of the journey. And the journey is not a straight path. It has ups and downs. It has times where you question your own existence, where you question the existence of anything. And it has times when you start to realize some of those deeper questions you may never know the answer to, but they don't matter. Because what really matters is what's going on now. I heard a great quote is where it says, now is the point where time meets eternity, or something like that. I totally
Mm.
botched it. But right now, this moment that we're living in, it's neither past nor present, except for now. When I just said now, it's now in the past, right? Because, time doesn't stop. It keeps
Mm.
moving.
Mm.
But we're always just around the corner from a deep struggle or a massive success or time of wonder in our lives. We're always just around the corner from something. But what really matters is how you're spending this time right now. And I've found one of the best ways to do the now is with love in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And to think in terms of, I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love this person. I love this moment. I love the fact that I'm growing. And because here's the thing that I know that I've learned from experience is that anytime I'm going through some kind of a challenge, no matter how hard it is or how silly it might be, the challenges build us. The challenges help us grow. And so I've come to love the challenge because I know what's on the other side of it. Even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's really hard, even though it's painful, maybe, whatever. Maybe it's stressful. Hey nerds. You feel like announcing Don't Worry Wednesday was live? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we
Go ahead
didn't
and
this
put an
time.
announcement in there.
It was 30 minutes. We started 30 minutes late this time, so everything was out of whack.
We did. Yeah, everything
Mhm.
was all weird. Um uh so anyway, one of the best ways you can go through any and every moment is with love. When you can think of somebody and think how you love them, or when you think of something and you can think how you love it, or how
Mhm.
whatever. If you can get to that point where you're thinking, I love, and fill yourself with that, because it
Mhm.
is a choice in a lot of cases. We can get to the point where we don't think it's a choice. We can inundate ourselves with entertainment or media or whatever into thinking that, there's so much bad and I should just hate it and I should just, like, I can't stand it. And anyone who aligns with that, I can't stand them. I hate them. And like to live a moment of your life in that state, that's a total subtraction from your feeling of dignity and worth.
Mhm.
Now you might feel justified and self-righteous, and you might feel all like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, this is right. Oh my gosh, I'm, making a difference or something." You might think in terms of that, but like if you're doing it through hate,
Mhm.
then you're only subtracting from yourself. And so I would encourage you, no matter what, you look at someone who has completely different ideological beliefs than you. And you might think that those beliefs make up everything you think that's bad in the world. But I would encourage you to love them.
Mhm.
They're, if they believe a whole bunch of things that aren't true, they're simply misguided. It doesn't mean they're evil. And you know what? I'm misguided in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And I would argue,
we all have misinformation spin around in our heads.
yeah, what's this?
Your
Wait a
partner
minute.
is not dumb. I love Barrow. They're great. But
Fantastic.
yes, do love them. There's
Yep,
a there's a quote. And by the way, Joe, everything you're saying is so spot on. I agree so fully. If you can live your life
you're spot on.
with with loving with a loving heart, I mean that's you are going to be a profound warrior for strengthening the dignity of you and others in this world and helping people see it and protecting it. Because love is, I love this. I love. That's a statement. It's like, who are you? Like, if you can say that as a response to who are you, like, who am I? I love. That's who I am.
Mhm.
That's what I'm about. That's what I do. That's what I care about. And if you can make yourself into one of those people, you will have figured everything out. Seriously. No problem will be
Well,
too big for you because if you attack it with love, assess it, solve it with love, you will be doing it the right way every time.
exactly. Senna, the chat is only double at the bottom 2/3 of the box.
Yeah, be more
So
precise.
just look at the top third of the box and
Yeah.
you'll find that it's just fine.
Mhm.
So
We don't know why
so
it's happening. It
pay
just
no
is.
attention to the bottom 2/3 of the chat box.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
whatever. Just
Mhm.
disregard.
But there's a quote I was going to say. Um and Joe, you probably know who this quote is from. Um do small things with great love. That's Teresa.
That's Teresa of Lisieux.
Yeah, Teresa Lizzie, the little flower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's that is a beautiful quote. Oh, welcome
Mm-hmm.
back, Savage. Savage was saying some good things
Welcome
in
back.
chat, and so are a lot of you guys about this topic. So I encourage Anonymous also to read the chat. And if you've just been listening, that's great. You could just take a moment and look through the chat since this topic began. I think there's a lot of valuable things. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about when you live with that mentality of I love.
Mm.
Your stress levels diminish
Oh, wow. Yeah.
significantly. Your feelings of, just overwhelm and all that, it melts when you can choose to love, especially when someone doesn't seem to deserve it.
Mm.
Especially then. And that's one of the keys, like that's because we keep going back to good and evil. We keep going back to, oh, see you later, Savage.
Yeah.
We keep going back to, maybe things that are holy or godly or whatever.
Which,
There's a reason love your enemies is such an important and profound statement. It's not because you just bear under the thing, even though my enemies are my enemies, I'm going to accept them and blah, 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 blah. No, it's because when you become fully filled with love, regardless of whether they're your friend or your enemy, there's peace.
mm-hmm. Yeah, peace
There's
abounds.
peace in your heart, in your soul, and then it doesn't matter what somebody does to you. It doesn't matter what somebody does anywhere. You just feel at peace and you can totally navigate through your life. You at that point, you know that you're dignified and worthy and worthwhile and have value. And you realize that about every single person around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at peace. And even when someone's freaking out and doing something stupid, even when someone's committing some kind of violent act, you can still love them. You cannot love the thing that they're doing. But when you understand that they're simply misguided, you can still love the person. And if they perpetrate some kind of really painful thing against you, I've seen it happen where parents of kids who were murdered, the parents would embrace their children's murderer and try and help them to grow beyond being a person that murders others. That's incredible love. I think of my kids, and I think if somebody ever did something to hurt them, I'd be really, really upset with them, and I'd want to hurt them back. Yes, I would. But that would bring so much distress into me. It would bring so much bitterness and hatred and all this kind of stuff, right? And a lack of peace
Mm-hmm.
because then I'm filled with vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a way that I want to live. So I'd encourage you, as you look around the world, as you go out and you experience other people around you and you experience going to the store and hearing that person freak out at a cashier, or you hear someone being really frustrated about something or other or whatever, doing something bad. Think to yourself, I love them. They're misguided right now. And I feel bad. I feel bad that they're in that state because really for them to act that way, they're probably their inner peace is at such a low level, they're all torn up inside. If someone's acting out like that, I can't even imagine what must be going on inside their heart. Because it can't be good. It can't feel good. So love. Do it.
Hmm. You tell him, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love everything you just said, Joe. That is really I mean, that really is it. You know, it really, it's world changing. It's life changing. If you can go about your life magnifying love and being a loving person, every issue you tackle, you can surround it with love, which is to desire the best for yourself, to desire the best for others, to desire the best for the outcome, to desire the best for the object, whatever it is. Everything becomes so much more easy and peaceful, and also it respects dignity and diminishes lust and lust in the broad sense of just taking advantage of people or objects or yourself in ways that are undignified, you know? So I think love really is the answer to this question. How can you realize our dignity? That is to love and to be love, the best that you can be. You will notice the dignity around you, and you will see the dignity in yourself, and you will the clarity of thought that comes from that is underrated. I could say no more of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, we can feel, like Joe was starting this conversation the whole conversation out with, when we join a group of people who are like, yeah, we're gonna get them, let's take them down, whatever, you know, you feel powered up, you feel strong, you feel you feel, I don't know what, lively, you feel feel like you're thriving.
Feel alive. You
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
feels good.
feels good.
You feel like you're part of something. You feel like accepted.
Mhm.
Everything. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then the reality comes, and maybe you do something, maybe you actually have a successful attack on that person or whatever. But man, here's the thing. You can just love instead, and you can want the best for somebody and realize you don't have to bring them down. You can teach them and minimize the badness that they're doing and maximize the good that they're doing and transform a person if you really set your mind to it, you know. And that's a lot of times what people need, especially if they're a person who is like, if it's a person or an entity everybody's rising up against, chances are that entity or that person, they actually need is some love in their life, and they need to start thinking in loving ways. Being an example of like just more evil to bring them down is not dignified. It's not healthy. It's, yeah. So even if we can feel good, you know, of what is, like, a lot of times, you know, you think of lust, that's putting pleasure above your own dignity, even reducing yourself to, yeah, whatever. I don't need to go into it, but you know, you reduce yourself, you reduce the other people that you forced to be involved with this or whatever, right? I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyways, yeah, so love is the answer though, right? I think, and that's how you realize your own dignity, is to love. And you need to get yourself into a position where you can start to notice and discern. And the only way to discern is through wisdom and experience. And if you have enough of those two under your belt, and you've lived a life where you're starting to try to understand the value in good, and that good that you can build up and and that good you can act upon with your own good, the more you do that, the more you'll be able to see the lines and where they're drawn, and embrace dignity and goodness and love.
Hmm.
And I know that's what I was saying before, just kind of reiterating it. But I think that this was a really important topic. This is a really good topic, and
one of these days,
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of these days, we've said a lot of stuff. We've gone a lot of different areas with this whole thing, and we did a lot of talking about different movements and everything like that. It almost seems like it's like a movement. It starts with a few people kind of maybe embracing this, hey, I love this person, I love these people, and so, but they're discriminated against or whatever, and so we want to help them feel better about themselves, and we want to help them feel like they're okay, and so that's kind of where it begins. But then eventually the movement takes over, and it becomes more about the movement than the people that it's helping, and then it turns into this beast that then becomes just ridiculous, and the movement becomes more important than telling the truth, and the movement becomes more important than helping anybody, and it just becomes about, oh, we're gonna drive this stake through, blah blah blah. And I'm watching this happen in so many different areas. So many people are starting movements regarding to so many different things, and it's like, I'm like, man, it's exhausting for one, and it's divisive for another, and it's not loving. It's not loving. Love has completely left the equation, because it goes from loving this person or this group of people that we want to help into hating anyone who is perceived to be mistreating that other person, right? It goes from love to hatred. But we can't hate somebody because they're misguided, right? They're just misguided.
Right.
If they understood the truth, they probably wouldn't hate so much, or they probably wouldn't act that way. And so that's where I don't know. One of these days, maybe there'll be a topic about, movements and how all that kind of stuff goes. But anyway, it kind of found its way into this thing about dignity, because I remember how attractive it was to be part of something like that. But then it ended up being empty.
Yeah.
And that real fulfilling dignity, to feel like I have dignity, to feel like I have worth, is mostly done in the now and when I'm filled with love. That's when I can feel that the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Free corn for everyone.
Thank you, Cats. That's much needed. Corn is good in its many forms.
I had corn on the cob today.
Dang, did you really? Fresh?
I did.
From your guys' garden?
No, yeah, in November.
Come on, it could be. Sorry, I totally forgot the season. Was not thinking about that.
Fresh. It was crazy. We got this big old, like I said, I ate about 20 pounds of seafood, I went with one of my kids. We went to this seafood place, and we got this huge, like, it was supposed to feed between 3 and 5 people, and it was expensive, but it was like, we're going to have leftovers. It's going to be great. And it had like crab and shrimp and crawfish and like what else?
Wow.
Calamari and
how was the calamari
corn on
done?
the cob.
How was the calamari done?
It was, I don't know, it was done.
No. Like, what did they do to it? Did they deep fry it with batter, or did they actually cook it?
No, it was boil. It was boiled.
Boiled. Okay.
Everything. It was a boil, basically.
Okay,
it was like, yeah. And so there were potatoes and corn on the cob and everything, and it was just this enormous thing, and all this stuff was mixed in there. And both of us you just reach in there and grab whatever you want and take it out.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds like a
all
great
those
time.
All those like crustacean things, though, they make a big mess.
They certainly do. They certainly do.
So my hands are gonna reek like seafood for
Oh
3 days,
yeah,
probably.
yeah. You know, some people just eat
But there was corn on the cob in there.
the shrimp. You know how they have those
Mm-hmm.
tails that are like the shells. Apparently,
Yeah.
that part. So when people are talking about like they say, oh, there's like a lot of really good nutrients, like calcium or what is it, selenium, like really
In
good
the
stuff for
tail,
you
like in the tail or the shell or whatever.
in seafood, and like
Yeah.
most of it is literally in the part you don't eat. It is in that tail, right? It is in
Of
that
course.
crustacean. It's like in the
Crusty
shell,
part.
and it's like that nobody eats. So it's like when people say like talk about seafood being really good for you and it contains like super great stuff for you, they're counting eating the shell, and you generally don't eat that. But I have actually had shrimp with the tails and eaten the crunchy part of the tail before. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
No, especially with squeezed cheese.
Yeah,
They're
well,
really
yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm. If you deep fry them until the shell's like crunchy, because it's already
Oh, yeah,
crunchy, but
so,
it
like-
actually falls apart and isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It crunches apart rather than just being really
Yeah.
crunchy and staying together, and you're like,
Yeah.
gnawing on it forever, and then you
Yeah.
still swallow it whole.
Yeah, but yeah, and you're like, that didn't do anything. I guess I'm just gonna swallow it now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, you know what, guys? We made it. We did it. Getting hungry. Yeah, we just ate. That's okay though. I'm kind of a little hungry too.
You can come over. I got tons of leftover calamari.
All right. Well, we'll be on our way. We'll see you in 25 plus however long it takes us to get our flight hours.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And then also drive to time.
have a good flight and a safe drive.
Yeah. We would probably see you in 3 days.
I will probably have
Ridiculous.
eaten it by then.
Yeah. But we could still smell your fingers, so that's still worth it.
Yep, that's true. That's true. You could smell my finger. That's...
Oh
yes,
my
we
gosh.
are, cats. You're right. We eat.
Mm-hmm. Always eating, devouring. Yeah, well, that's what we do. We are human beings.
Mhm.
Well, we are creatures. You know, plants never stop eating too. People just don't notice that they're eating. What they're eating are our breath, our CO2, and they're eating the sun beams.
I was like, they're eating
Please,
the sun.
Destroy the plants. They're eating our sun. They're eating our sun. We have to end plants. They are eating my
End the plants. End all plants.
And all plant life.
The
They're
plants
so,
are
yes.
you're
greedy.
right, Twashu. They're so greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Plants. I'll tell you what, man. Thank a vegetarian.
Yeah. Yeah. Vegetarians, you guys are doing you're doing the world a service.
Yeah, just do it with a better attitude, and then we'll be happier.
You just don't make it a religion. We'll be all right. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, we love you guys. It's what we do around here.
Mhm,
We
we love
eat and we
everybody.
love you.
That's right. We eat and we love. That's what we are. It's what we do. But yeah, thank you guys for showing up for another Don't Worry Wednesday. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate each and every one of you, and you guys are so awesome. You guys had a lot of great things to say in the chat today. Sorry we didn't
great.
read
You
them
guys
all
are
out,
awesome.
but you guys are great. But yeah, it's true. I am a plant. Cats. Oh no.
Are you eating the sun?
Are you eating our sun? That's supposed to be our sun. Like everybody's son. There you are. Yeah. All right. Take
Awesome.
care.
Yes,
Good luck.
glad.
Thank you. You too, Unknown.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thanks for remembering it was Wednesday, Baka.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thanks, Senna, for helping other people come here and noticing that we were live.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's good to see you. Good to see you pop up in the chats, and I haven't heard from you in a while, so it's good to see you.
Yeah.
So,
We love you guys. We appreciate
Mhm.
all of you. You're so lovely. And we hope that we will get to see you again next week on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, don't worry. We'll have another Don't Worry Wednesday. It'll be next week.
Yeah.
If you have any topics.
Next week Wednesday is a special day.
Ooh. Ooh.
Because it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Dang.
Wow.
Wow.
My favorite holiday.
Yeah.
My favorite holiday is so it'll be Thanksgiving Eve. I'm gonna be jacked, man. I'm gonna be like so excited because Thanksgiving, man.
Are you sure you won't be in a food
My
coma?
favorite. No, it's the
Oh, it's the day before.
It's
Right.
the day before.
Yeah. It'll be
Thanksgiving.
yeah. So you'll be excited. You're gonna bring all your energy.
Yep. I will
Yeah.
not be food comaed yet.
That'll come after. That'll become the
I'll
next
be
step.
preparing for the food coma to come.
Yes. That's smart.
Yes.
I need food coma, but we don't have Thanksgiving.
Aw. I'm sorry.
Every country
You
should
can always
celebrate America's
you know what?
Thanksgiving.
This could be a really controversial thing for you to do in your country, but you could adopt the American holiday of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then everybody around you'd be like, filthy Americans and stuff and whatnot. And then you'll
be like, thank God for Americans, right?
Dude, turkey, potatoes, stuffing, gravy,
casseroles galore. Those were always my favorite. Oh, pie. Corn. Yeah. Pumpkin pie. Oh,
everything.
Apple pie.
Everything except the stupid cranberry can.
You don't have to have that.
The can-shaped cranberry gook.
Yeah, you don't have to have that. Don't worry about it, Joe. Someone else will eat that if they like it.
Yeah, everything else is Thanksgiving is great.
My mom makes a really good cranberry. What do you call that? Cranberry
sauce, cranberry jelly, cranberry jam.
It's hard to
preserves.
It's called cranberry sauce, but it's definitely not a sauce because it's like cranberry chunks. It's like actually cut up cranberries and everything and real.
Yeah.
It's with like lemon on it and it's really yummy. It's very sweet.
That's not as bad as the can-shaped thing that.
Yeah. No, the can thing
comes out of the thing.
Can thing is, it's all right. I'll eat it, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Crikey, these filthy Americans.
I know people who put the cranberry can on everything on their plate. They'll put like turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, mac and cheese and stuffing and everything, and they'll load up their whole plate and they'll put a blop of that on everything.
Really?
And I'm like, you're wrecking everything.
What are you doing? No, that's interesting. I've never seen someone do that. That's amazing. I don't mind that.
It was one of my cousins, I think, does that.
That's great.
What are you doing?
They're all up. That means they're committed. They're committed to the bit.
Yeah.
They're a memester. That's what they are.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'm like, well, perfect. You can have my helping. I don't want any of that.
Yeah, they did. Psychopathic behavior. No. Oh my gosh, you guys are funny.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys once again for being here, and we'll see you next Wednesday. We love you guys, and we're so happy to be able to do this show with you, and we're happy that you do this show with us. Until next time, have a wonderful, blessed, amazing life, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye now.
Love you guys.
Love you all. Peace.